I just finished creating a grid system for geoteach.com. I'm really excited. I've had it in the past when I was using the Earth API before it got deprecated. It had a latitude longitude grid system. And then when I had to move to the Maps API, I didn't know how to do it. And it kind of took me about 10 years to figure it out. So here it is. I'm going to demo the tool for us and then walk through the decisions that were kind of made and why the tool's set up the way it's set up. There's also probably some other features in geoteach.com that you'll probably see me use. The first thing is like where to put the menu. So it's up here. These are kind of like things for maps, and then this is things for moving the canvas around. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle open that window, and what you'll see in there is grid lines, grid line labels, import lines, hemispheres, and then white grids. So the first one is just kind of your grid lines. And what happens when you zoom in and zoom out for the grid lines, it's going to center and it's going to place labels at latitude and then longitudes depending on the zoom. So you see there's 15-degree intervals right now, and then there's 30-degree intervals, easier for you to say. As I zoom in, it goes down to 1 degree. So that was kind of the first thing. But then I realized that when I'm doing lessons or teaching students, that the first thing that I really work on is north, south, east, west. And I didn't want all of those other grids to get in the way, so I just put in a simple grid system for the equator and prime meridian to help students figure out how to divide up their hemispheres. And then also I went ahead and added important lines because climate and low, mid, high latitudes is real important in our course. So there's the Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, Arctic, Antarctic circles, and then you still have your equator and your prime meridian. When I toggle them off, it's going to toggle everything off, mainly because when you want, most of the time, this is the feature that I'll probably be using, and rarely will I ever just use the latitude, the hemisphere lines. So that kind of explains that one. As far as the grids and the grid labels, sometimes maps get a little bit complicated, so just to simplify the grid, just turn on and off the labels there. And what you can do on one side, you can of course do on the other side. Alright, so right now I'm going to turn on the grid labels and the hemispheres. So it looks something like that. Cool. Right now they're gray. If you notice, you put in satellite, it's kind of hard to see the lines, hence the toggle the white. So it just depends on the background and what contrast you need. So that's why that white grid lines is there. Cool. So for the first kind of lesson would really be low, mid, high latitudes. But when it comes to mapping tools, you'll see this Mercator rejection. So you'll see that we're 0 to 30 degrees, 30 to 60 degrees, and this is 60 to 90 degrees. And then we move across 30-degree intervals as far as your longitude goes. What I want to do, kind of demonstrate for us right now, is using this grid system with a measuring tool. And then that way we can see how distances change or don't change depending on your latitude and longitude. And the two case studies I'm going to use is Anchorage, Alaska, and then Singapore. So right now the maps are synced, and I need to get one to Anchorage and one to Singapore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle off the synchronized maps. I still have the zoom synchronized, but not the maps themselves. So north, south, east, and west, the maps are independent. Across your z-index, they are synced. They're still linked together. All right, so I'm going to kind of come over here to Anchorage, kind of put it to the middle of the screen, and then I'm going to get Singapore to about the middle of the screen. Cool. So right now you should be able to see it right away. We're 15-degree intervals here and here, and 15 here and here. So you see what the Mercator rejection's already done as far as stretching. But we'll go ahead and just make it easy for us, and we'll zoom into about 1 degree. There we go. So there's Singapore in the middle, and then there's Anchorage in the middle. So 149 degrees west, 150 degrees west longitude, 61 degrees north, 62 degrees north, and then 1 degree north, 2 degrees north, and then 103 and 104 degrees east, respectively. Right, so we have 1 degree latitude and 1 degree longitude on this grid system, but our boxes don't look like boxes, right? Right now this map over here is a little bit too complicated for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle off probably the road layer. That should be able to clean up. Yeah, there we go. And just to make it even, I'll go ahead and do it on the other side too. Cool. All right. So we have Anchorage, and then we have Singapore. Now, there's a measurement tool in geteach.com. It's right here where it says measurements. We'll go ahead and open them both. And all I have to do is create a line or a path to do the measuring. So it says draw a line here at the bottom right. Draw a right line, kind of I'm in the middle right now where my icon is. I'm just going to click that draw line. And let's just go ahead and do latitude first. So I'm going to click at 61 degrees and then click at about 62 degrees. You notice it gives me about 69 miles, which is about the distance. That's a little over the distance, but it's close enough. If you need metric, just click the little checkbox and I'll convert it to metric for you. I'm going to do the same thing over here with the Singapore map. Click the line, and I'm going to get about 1 degree and then about 2 degrees. And we're at 69 there. So that's kind of the first observation that you're looking at. So you see it looks like there's a greater distance in these latitudinal points, but in reality, they're the same distance, about 69 miles. Now, the inverse is about to happen when we measure longitude. So they look roughly the same width. Let's measure out and see what happens. So I'm going to click the line again. That's what I did right there. And then I'm going to go right at the bottom of here. So click 103 and then 104. And I get about 69 miles again. I think I'm a little high, but that's good. About 69 miles. And we're going to come over here. I'm going to click the draw. And then do the same thing. And it's at 33 miles. So the latitude closer to the equator is much longer between points. The distance is much greater between 2 points than it is longitude when you get up to about 60 degrees for sure. So we're looking at 33 miles versus 68 miles. Again, if you need to look at metric, there's your metric. So that's kind of the first lesson I probably would use when it comes to looking at the grid system and longitude and latitude. To toggle off it, you just click the off, and then go ahead and click off. And there you go. It's kind of how I would use the grid system in geteach.com looking at latitude and longitude. Trash my drawings real quick. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. It was a lot of fun to create.